wonder what it's like to have a big family where every single member has their own opinions? Welcome to the Family Chat Show, the real life show where we aim to share our version of life. And now it's time for the Family Chat Show.
Okay, what topic do you want to talk about?
Well, we could talk about the Pope.
Yeah?
So, my view is George Powell should never be even considered a Pope.
Why?
Basically because I read a quote from George Powell which said if somebody came into the confessional, if a priest went into the confessional box and said that he'd been molesting children, that he wouldn't report it because the confessional box is more important to maintain the integrity of the confessional box. That was more important than protecting the victims or victims.
They're legally not allowed not to report it now.
Apparently actually the confessional box is separate again. Like if a priest went to the priest, if the priest went to George Powell out of the confessional box, he would report it. According to him, he would report it immediately. But he's bound by the confessional box or the constitution of the confessional box that he can't report stuff like that inside the confessional box. He can't report anything else.
Well, George Powell's from the Dark Age thinking. That's what I sort of, like, damn, you'd be damned to hell sort of thing. I don't like that traditional way. You're either love God or you're going to be the devil's child. You're going to the devil.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like that. And he belongs to that sort of,
Mentality,
mentality. Yeah, that's right. So he's just too old school. In his thinking. I'm not saying it wasn't the way of the church, but his thinking, he did as a God by himself.
Like the Pope that's just retired, he seems affable. He seems quite sort of.
He was in charge of the pedophiles, and he was the one that was sending them all to the diocese before he was actually Pope.
The current one.
The current one. Yeah. That was his job, and he's just dispersed them all to different dioceses. He's the cover-up. The whole cover-up started from him by covering up things. So.
My personal view is I couldn't understand anyone wanting to go to the Catholic Church, period. There's nothing in the Catholic Church that is attractive. The sermons are boring. They don't seem to help the community in general. I just can't imagine anyone wanting to go and sit in the church on a Sunday as their penance or whatever they deem it to be. I think it's the most boring religion, and it is archaic. Like the views on abortion and the views about different things. It's really just a scam to get money. People should recognise it for that.
That's all it's been.
Yeah.
That's right, it's just coming out more and more. But I suppose when Julianne was christened, and I was in Donald Street, I got a letter from the church asking how much I could donate weekly. I was totally, wow! I know that they want donation, but they've never actually sent a letter. Apparently in Scotland, that's what happened to Mix. They were pretty religious, sort of go. But because of the money situation, the people asking for money, the church asking for money, their dad, said that stuff, got out of the church. But really it is, and I remember talking to Carmen, which is Martin's mum. I remember her telling Martin, he was saying, how could you just keep defending a religion? Can't you see they're all pedophiles? And I remember her saying, I have been in this country 52 years and I've only missed 4 times church in all that time. And she said to Martin, look at our lives, we've got a good life. And so, yeah, like I said, and just different things. And I remember ringing her up when I got this letter from the church. I was like, a bit more about the church because they got involved with the church. And I said, Well, and she sort of explained it this way, look, priest needs money. Priest needs, they've still got electricity bills and they've still got a car and, he's like, oh yeah, fair enough, people do ring up in the middle of the night and priests have to go out in the middle of the night. So I suppose they need a reliable car, petrol, so it's sort of like, it calmed me down a little bit in her
Yeah, but don't they
explanation.
do that when they hand out the tray to collect
Yeah,
money?
I know, but like I said, it just sort of like, at first I was just outraged by her explaining at least something. Well, I suppose they do need a car and, in my own little mind. So I was able to soothe it down, but it wasn't, appease it really. But it's just got bigger and bigger.
So I think all religion is basically, few people start the religion off purely to make money.
Well, Keith was the one that said it, wasn't he? You want to make money in this world?
Yeah,
Start a religion.
Yeah.
That's true.
People will follow, like I've seen a few shows on TV, like there was one where Blake was pretending to be an Indian guru.
Yeah, it's a case of having the gift of the gab.
Yeah.
And that's what it's a case of. Like, me and you probably couldn't convince someone to join our church.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where someone with the gift of, like Andy, perfect. Like,
Yeah.
he'd be a perfect gift of the gab person.
Well, this bloke was really making a mockumentary about how you can
what's
start
the
a
Indian
religion.
one?
Yeah.
And it was full
They had
course.
people follow him religiously and just do what I said. And even that other Sheila, that Olivia, Dirty Sex Money type thing, she done that as a joke as well. It was just like, I want you to like put your hands on the end and go, and just make them do all these stupid things and they'll just follow religiously and just do exactly what they're supposed to do. Now I want you to turn around in circles and do 5 spins. Then I want you to sit down and they'll turn around and do 5 spins. She had like 30 of them in a room and she's just making them do the most stupid things and all of that. They're thinking, like they're looking at each other thinking, that's not right, but they're still doing it. Like, it was absolute, she was taking the piss out of them completely.
So what was your conclusion why you stood down then?
He was forced down.
Yeah, I believe he was forced down as well.
Yeah, there's too much going on,
Yeah.
in the background.
And
Well,
do you
that's
think
the problem.
the Royal Commission in Australia had anything to do with that?
Well,
Was it going to point to him in the end anyway? Like all
that's
being
exactly
his
that. I
fault?
reckon lots of stuff. This has just begun, the story. I think there's lots of things in the background that are going to... Like I said, he was the one that was putting all these pedophiles. He was in charge of that section before he was Pope. And he was putting them all, sending them all away. Like,
Yeah.
like George Powell. He's been involved
I don't know if he was the one doing all of them, because I'm pretty sure that
He was in
a lot more than
charge.
just
That's what I'm
him.
saying. No, he was in charge. He was the one that made the decisions. Like, of course, it's like Obama. You can't say he made the decisions, but he's the president, so it all comes back to him. And is that the same as it all came back to this, to the Pope?
Like I've heard of it a couple of times. I haven't heard it was one.
Well, his story is he was a Nazi when he was 14. He was put in the thing, and then he was called out to be in the army. So Hitler's army, obviously, was a pilot. So he's obviously killed people, and he's playing that, like he was forced to. It was that era. I don't care whether you're forced to or not, it's in your history. You can't be a pope with blood on your hands. I don't care whether it's... And so, and the fact that he called himself Pope Benedict, I knew straight away, you're a traitor. Like, way back then, I've never really, just different things that have come out. I've just thought... It's not right, and just the way he reads, he doesn't even look up and say, hello people, just... You can't even hear him, he's sort of like...
That's all popes, isn't it?
But it's not right.
I've never known a pope to
Oh no,
actually
John
speak.
Paul was more engaging with the folk. Like, he was more popular, John Paul. He was Pope for 20 years. We didn't know any other Pope, really. Did you know
No,
any other
I don't
Pope?
know any popes really.
But we just knew there was Pope in Catholic Church.
Yeah.
And like I said, he was the same one all our lives. It was that Catholic,
Yeah.
the Pope. But they're saying, see, like Gregory, through my website, over the years, they've said that the dates have been manipulated by people. They're back on the Gregorian calendar, right? And Pope Gregory is the last one that got forced out of office to this one. That was 600 years ago. I don't know if it's reverse. Like,
Why
Pope
couldn't he
Gregory-
simply have retired? What? Like, why does it have to be a conspiracy? Why couldn't he have simply retired, given that he's
Because
85
it's never
years old?
happened. The whole point is if you to die in that role. You know, if you're going to be elected at 80, you're going to die in that role, like Priest said before.
Yeah.
Like I said, the precedent was 600 years ago.
And if you know that you're not capable of doing the job
Exactly,
properly,
that's right. Apparently he was...
Yeah, but
Why can't you
isn't
retire?
the Pope supposed to be God's chosen one?
Yeah, see, that's what I thought. I thought he had personal contact with God. I really thought that all my life. I just thought, you know, he's God's representative on earth, and he has contact with God. I just thought that. And now I understand, like, when I started to
they're
wake up to...
just human beings, though. I mean, at the end of the day.
Yeah, but they're not allowed to be. You can't be in a title like that, a pope, and just be a human being. You've got to be...
Why?
Because it's not meant
Well,
for
you're supposed to
human
be a
being.
representative
That's
of
right.
the people, aren't you? So you are supposed to be above.
Yeah, the people.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can't be
above.
part of people.
You know,
You're leading
not
the
just
followers.
a pleb. You're a
You're a leader of the followers.
yeah. So
Not-
you've got to be above reproach. Like you know, if you're going to be the king of the church, if you like.
But surely
You've got to be. You've got to not allowed to break any laws, eh? You're not allowed to do anything wrong. You
I
certainly
know,
can't
there's
be
lots
the leader of the
popes that
good
have
world.
been.
How? Where?
Like, I forgot the name of the Pope, but
John Paul.
That's who we knew.
probably. I just know the last Pope.
John Paul was the last one.
Are they all John Paul?
Sure he was, because
No.
like I remember Pal being in the runnings only a couple of years when this bloke.
Yeah, 7 years ago.
Yeah, it was at 7 years. He's been
7
there
years
7
ago,
years.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He was 78 and he's 85 now. That's how I know.
But it's up to the people who elect him to know that they're above reproach. Like, surely they would know before. Like, it's not like
Well,
they
what
just
they
go,
did,
oh,
he was the
actually,
vice
John's
president.
retiring. We'll just put Brian in there. Like, they do their homework. It doesn't just happen. Like,
But do they do their homework, or do they just go all the bishops together, decide, sitting around a table deciding who's going to be our next leader? You know,
Well,
then we're going to
but
choose
it
our
still
leader.
has to be the
I
best
think
out of the
that's what
bunch.
it is.
That's right.
So if that's the best of the bunch, well,
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. If that's the best of the bunch,
But
and
I
he's
think
found
that,
to be
you know,
broken laws, like obviously they've either made a wrong decision or he is the best of the bunch, and the rest of them have to go as well.
Like, even saying about war and stuff like that. Like, so that means all soldiers and stuff who served in the war who are in there in Iraq and all that now clearly stealing the oil and clearly invading other countries. That means, so if any of them would ever rise to a prominent position, that people would then say, oh, hang on a minute, you were in the war in Iraq. You know, like, they're sent to do it. They work for their country. The country says, this is what you live in this country, you're expected, they're conscripted to go, like, in the Nazi party and things like that. They're conscripted into their position. They have to go and do as they're told to do. So how can you later on then hold that against them and say, well, no.
Well, they don't
We're in
have
the
to.
war.
Obviously, you don't have to. You either join the army or you don't. You know what I mean?
I
You
think-
join the army and say, okay, I'm
I
going to
think
go.
you have a
I'm going to
choice if you're
serve
in
for my
Germany.
country.
Oh,
Nazi Germany.
Yeah, Nazi
I would agree. But at the same token, yeah, I mean that's a whole.
see, he was virtually the vice president of the church. Him and John Paul worked like that. He was the underneath man from John Paul. So really, he would have been the logical choice for the group. Like if he worked hand in hand with John Paul, he was John Paul's right hand man. John Paul went, and so in my mind, it was just practicality. Like if you knew it all the time anyway, you're the best man for the job.
What's his name? I don't even remember his name. I know Ratzinger.
Yeah, Joseph
Last-
Ratzinger.
Joseph.
Like, keep that name. Doesn't that name that tell you something? Ratzinger. It's like, really, if you like, because I understand names. It's true.
Goebbels or
Yeah,
something.
all the ones collect
Go.
and then kill 'em.
That's right. You're lucky. That's right. But, you know, we kill slaves, but slaves come in many forms. Not just on the, cotton fields. Slaves like...
That didn't give us any right to kill them. Just because we didn't know.
Well, we
doesn't
don't know
mean-
whether... Depends. We could kill, but we don't necessarily physically kill. You know, devil is subtle. We can do it sort of like it's to kill some. Yeah, like I said, we can go kill. We've got that power. If we wanted to be nasty, we could be a nasty group with the power. When you think about our name, the strength of our name, if we could easily be the biggest dictator in the world with our name. With that, if we knew how to use that power of it. But we're doing it, in a psychological way. We kill lackeys, you idiot for being... What are you to listen to him for? He's a dickhead.
Yeah.
We do that. Where that's more of the subtle way, really, the psychological way. But really, if we were born in the Dark Ages, we could have wiped everybody out, I reckon. They would have been scared of it. Like, I don't know if you know Opus Dei. Do you know Opus Dei?
Church thing.
The Church Opus Dei. And they're the dark ones, right? But the Pope's involved in that, right? And what they do, they have to wear a sharp, jagged edge anklet or something, and he wears it down there. Like, it's so they'll know the suffering of mankind. Frickin' hell, look at you, open your eyes, look around, everybody's suffering. You don't need to have a sharp object on you. Like, that's what they do. They put this on them, they wear their coats, just like I said, to remind them that there's pain and suffering in the world. Like, carry on. Like, why are you in that part? He's the Pope. You shouldn't be Opus Dei, Catholic. It's called the Catholic Church. Be a Catholic.
What does a Catholic represent, really?
Well, Michael, it's a universal church, but what's happened is the Romans have narrowed it down. We just think it's a Roman church, but when you really look at the history, when you really think about it, Catholic Church is a universal church. It's, like I said, somebody's just grabbed it, seized it, and worked out, manipulated it all, and made us all think we're all Roman, but really, Catholics are everywhere. You can't really say an African should be Catholic or whatever. Like,
is Roman really because they're roaming all over the place?
Well, there must have been some foundation in Rome. Like, Rome's a big city, and in those days it was a powerful, mighty city.
Yeah, wasn't it like the Romans? Wasn't it the Romans who took Jesus, sent him off down the thing? Wasn't it Romans?
I think
Pontius
so.
Pilate a Roman?
Yeah. And they invaded England. Sort of.
Yeah, that was many years after, though.
What about like the Vatican itself?
That was a downfall.
Like the Vatican clearly has lots of ties to the mafia. And clearly,
What has
basically,
what?
the Vatican.
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 Okay,
Yeah. Like,
Do you know that was only established in 1930?
what's the country?
The Vatican itself. It's a whole country. Like, it's like it's got the status of, say, us, as Australia has.
Yeah.
The Vatican has.
Yeah.
But really, it's, they created it in 1930, and that's what I'm saying. They've got all this Catholic power, and they've taken it with them, and they've built up from there. But you can see it's all the Roman gladiators, sort of the way it's come across. But like I said, it's a universal church. It should be, like, I don't like the idea of black Africans or whatever. It's just Catholics. If you're a Catholic, you're a good Catholic, or you're not. Or you want to be Catholic. It doesn't
Apparently
matter.
there's a black fella.
Talking about that's right. He's African.
Yeah.
Now I don't care. Like, realistically, there's religious stories and there's political stories. Okay, Catholic got nothing to do with I'm English or I'm Australian or whatever. I'm a Catholic. So in the picture, I just see Catholics. The whole idea of the whole.
But you're not a Catholic.
Not a practicing Catholic.
Yeah.
She's Catholic.
Yeah, I'm
When she's not a Catholic.
What's I'm
Not
Catholic?
practice.
No, we don't practice.
You don't
Don't
have to
have to
practice.
How does that work?
Like, we're all Catholics.
No, you can't. That's why we're all England. We're in Australia. So what, did we just forget that we were born in England or something? It's so possible.
Yeah, but okay, do you
Practice
consider
English?
yourself as
Who am I? Australian or English?
That's
It's
right,
the
that's
same.
about to say. Which do you consider yourself, one or the other?
Oh, well, I don't know.
An English Catholic.
Yeah.
Okay, so England
Australia.
is so you've
Well, I
made
can't
the
deny
definition,
me
you
English.
define it as
Me
English.
bloody's English, no matter what I say. I can't say no. it's
Can't
not.
say she's an
I
Australian
don't consider myself
Catholic.
Catholic at all.
Why not?
Yeah, I know, but I'm
She's
just
English.
saying in the whole context of it all. It
But
shouldn't
she
matter whether
made
you're
her
Australian or African or. If you're a
thing
Catholic, you're a
in
Catholic.
Australia.
That's all.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
the story's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, you be a
Yeah,
Catholic.
well, she became
and then you be a
Catholic.
good Catholic.
Yeah.
Hopefully the story
So
wants to
she had to be an Australian Catholic if that was the case.
Well, the modern
No.
version is really being a Christian rather than a Catholic.
Yeah, whatever. Be a Christian. But, what's your nationality got to do with anything? What's your race got to do with anything? It's not about that. It's about
not in
your
religious
faith.
terms,
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying. Where I've combined everything. You know, they say religious and politics don't match. They don't. They totally different
Absolutely.
script.
Opposing, yeah.
And that's the problem. Is this part of this script is taken there, and part of that's taken there, and it's all mixed
The
up.
laws are
I'll
based
just
on religion,
separate it.
right?
You
The
know.
laws are based on the Bible.
Well, that's what they
Some
say,
laws,
but not when it
yeah.
comes to it. Like I thought that when I got to court, I thought the law was based on the Ten Commandments. That's what I thought until I discovered that. What are you talking about? You know, nothing to do with it. Like
Well, it's not nothing to do with that. I mean, those 10 Commandments are still against the law, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, there would be no still
So
of
it's
law.
just all I've
if
done is
Moses
added
didn't-
to them.
That's right. But
Thou
they.
shalt not commit adultery.
Yeah.
That's not against the law.
Oh, in some
It
ways,
is.
bigotry.
It is.
That's why they impeach
Yeah, you
presidents.
can't get married twice.
No, but even you can't have an affair as an American president or anything like that. That's why Clinton was going to be impeached
Yeah,
because it's
yeah.
against the law. So it is against the law. But I don't to be president, like, or to be in America, yeah.
It's only in
against the
some
law.
countries it's against the law. Like Islam, for instance, that would be against the law in Islam.
No, you're allowed to, aren't you? You're allowed to have 10 wives. So you don't need to have an affair in
If
Islam.
they're your wife, yeah. But adultery is going and having an affair with the next door neighbour's wife, isn't it?
I think the bloke's allowed to, but the girl gets killed. It's fair enough. And violence,
You're right, the rules, it's fair enough.
I like the rule they've got in Muslim, which is the wife has to have sex at least 3 times a week. It's a law.
Yeah, it's great. Oh, you can tell it's a man-made religion.
Yeah, like really.
That's
all
what I mean.
the-
You can like tell, you can see all the little finger marks there and
Absolutely,
whose
yeah.
foot marks are there.
The whole lot of it's a joke, really. It's just meant to basically get your money.
It's supposed to guide you.
Well, the Bible as a whole, I mean,
Yeah,
not to take it
yeah,
literally,
yeah.
you know, but the Bible is a general story of life, you know what I mean? It's a fable, if you like, you know, Aesop's
Yeah,
fable,
yeah.
you know, it tells you a story, but you're supposed to get a lesson out of it, you know, like the emperor wears no clothes, that type of
Yeah, but you're
supposed to have a lesson. You're supposed to get your own thing out of the Bible.
It tells you through the book. If you change the scriptures, you will get the plagues and you will get this, and that's all that's happening in the world today. I wish that the scientists would pick up the Bible and analyse it as a science, you know. Like I said,
You can't analyse it scientifically.
Yeah, but you should be
Scientifically is not,
You have
oh,
to
this
have
happened
physical
over here,
proof.
so this must happen over here. That's right. Science is evidence. All the way is evidence. You know what I mean? You can't, a tale is nothing to do with
Okay,
science.
but
So,
don't outcomes don't results speak for themselves? Like we have got the locust plague, for argument's sake, right? And we have got everything mentioned in the Bible we have got today. Is that just
probably had them back when they
That's
wrote
exactly,
it.
yeah,
So
exactly
that's
right.
where they got the idea from.
Exactly.
You know, it was probably like
You know how you
plagues
say,
and stuff and
if you're sick, you
Think you made you made your own sickness type
yeah,
thing. Exactly
yeah.
the same thing. You know, it's, you've seen a locust plague. Oh look, there's a tree there. Now, if I can make a story up of how that tree got there, and you believe it, you know what I mean? Where science would say, okay, well, you have to plant a seed for this to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where the Bible, God just put the tree there. You know what I mean? Like, but we understand, okay, you know, a seed happened at some stage. A seed was dropped from the sky, or however the hell the first seed got there. The seed and the tree came from a seed. We know this tree just didn't suddenly appear. We know God just didn't say, you know, God just bang, there's your whole earth. No, I mean, the Bible said it took 7 days.
But you know, like through the website, the website's based telling me
6 days, that's right, yeah.
they say this is the sixth creation. In other words, history's been repeated and repeated. This is the sixth time. I think they'd get it right by now, but obviously
Depends
not.
if everyone wiped out the first time, and the second time, and the third time, and the
See,
fourth
that's
time,
what
and the
they've
fifth
been doing,
time.
and they were ready to do this time, but they got caught. And that's the whole thing in the last decade is, that's right, they got caught. Is they wanted to wipe us all out because then they just rebuild. That's their thing, and they were, but the light got ahead,
But they couldn't just wipe you out.
why?
Because someone needs to run the electric stations.
Yeah, but they had their group. You know, like, I remember Chris saying, Dad said, that there was 9 people in this world that if the planet got wiped out, they're all underground and they could reconstruct it. Through Dad, she learned that. Dad was in a group and he was in England. What was it called?
9 people are going to recreate the whole world.
Yeah, that is the story that goes.
Well, 2
It's-
people originally did.
Yeah, that's right. Sad about it. But this is what supposedly happened time and time again. We've been wiped out, and a few people that have created it together, but now they've stuffed themselves. They've made one false move too many this round,
Don't
and now
smoke on
they've.
camera, okay?
Why?
Because it's not good. Because it's not good.
Yeah, old cigarette packet up. Well, we can't advertise it anymore. We get cigarette sponsorship.
Alright, tobacco companies, we are looking for sponsors.
What was I watching the other day? Drum or The Project, I think, and Akis was on it. And then this was on it. He's pretty laid back, you know, he's got a...
I like it.
I'd like to have him in here.
Well, that's it for the first episode of the Family Chat Show. Thanks for watching. Join us next week for the next episode. For more information on the show, you can visit our website at thefamilychatshow.com.